Good morning, AC of the NC.
What's up? Listen to you use all those DJ-isms, man.
How are you, buddy? I have for you Cynthia Geary, and she's all yours until 29 after.
Good morning. How are you doing, Cynthia?
I am good. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. I got to tell you that you guys have raised the bar when it comes to going home. And the reason why is because we do watch the medical shows, we do watch the police shows and things like that, and we embrace the negative sides of life, but we pull from that. And I think that going home is going to be one of those shows as well, is that we're going to learn something from this, and we're going to become a stronger community.
I agree with you, and thank you.
So how do you embrace in a moment like this? Because, I mean, you guys make it feel real.
Well, I will say the scripts are beautifully written, and it does feel real. And we had just incredible guest stars who brought, every single one of them brought their A-plus game. Tom Skerritt, Conchetta Tomei, Charisma Carpenter, and it made it super easy for me. It did feel real.
You know, and hospice has always gotten the bad rap, but in reality, because I've been with someone during these moments, and it's really very beautiful inside the soul when the transition happens.
Well, I had never had experience with hospice. Luckily, I'm knocking on wood right now. My parents are in their 90s and are still healthy and doing well. And I hadn't had a lot of death in my life, but I was fortunate enough to get to go visit the hospice in Spokane, Washington, that our show creator, Dan Merchant, based this show on. And I met them and talked to them and got a feel for the place, and then read all these beautiful stories that Dan took from real life experiences and from the nurses. And I couldn't agree more. It is incredibly beautiful. It's a gift they give to these families who are going through this with loved ones.
Well, I mean, one of the main themes is that you know people don't understand that death is not the opposite of life. It's a process of life, and I love the fact that you guys have put that inside your trailers and stuff, because it does open your eyes to what it's all about.
Absolutely, I feel the same way. It's changed my perspective on death 100%. I feel like we've really opened up this conversation, and it is. I mean, it's something that's going to happen to all of us and happen to our loved ones, and it is a part of life. And why not make it a beautiful, positive experience?
In a very big universal way, do you think that doing a show like Going Home also gets inside your mind, body, and soul in the way that you are helping families from Ukraine? Because I mean, you're teaching us through Going Home, but at the same time, you're helping people by being real in this moment of now.
Absolutely. Oh, 100%. I mean, I think that it definitely permeates my real life, and yes.
With these families, do you get to work one-on-one with them? Because I can't imagine the culture change that they're moving through. But at the same time, I have a neighbor who has spent the last 3 years in Ukraine, and he doesn't want to come home. He's over there helping out the reporters.
Oh yeah, and I do not. I am working with a company that works to house people that are working for U.S. based companies in Ukraine, and we have moved hundreds and hundreds of families into neighboring countries. But so I don't get to personally know the families, but I have been told that you're absolutely 100% right. I mean, many people did not want to leave their homes. They love Ukraine, and they're very loyal and nationalistic, and so that was a huge issue, because you had, as you can see on the news and every day, these people who are, I mean, their homes are destroyed and they're getting killed, and it's tragic.
Mm-hmm. Do you find yourself working on something in the future to help promote the companies and stuff like that you work with? Because I mean, it's such an open space for people right now to bring even more light to the situation.
Oh, yes. I hope so. I mean, well, first, I hope we're not in this situation again.
Right.
I would, but like everything, like we're seeing with, not to get too political, but school shootings and everything else,
Mm.
this all seems to keep repeating itself. And I would be honored to help and be a part of anything that promotes peace and understanding and love and family.
Do you know if there's a website where people can donate money?
I'm sorry. I should have prepared for that, but I don't um, have that information for you. I can get it afterwards and have it sent to you, but
Oh, beautiful.
which may not be good for your listeners. But I'm sure that if you go, there are many reputable national organizations, charitable organizations that are supporting efforts in Ukraine.
Absolutely. So what was it like to go from, I mean, all of this, the acting and everything like that on television and things, but you stepped back onto the local theater. I mean, that people know your name in local theater and you're up there on that stage.
Well, I got moved to outside of Seattle, Washington, Bellevue, Washington, in 1990 to do Northern Exposure.
Yep.
And I'd never been to the Pacific Northwest. I was moved from LA to play the role of Shelley. And it is a truly gorgeous place. I live on a lake and I'm an avid water skier. And after Northern Exposure, I had, I was married and wanted to have children. And I just felt like it was a beautiful, great environment to raise kids. And it was the right choice for me and for my family. But it definitely, it was a choice because I knew that not being in Los Angeles and around agents and managers would probably limit my opportunities. I didn't know how much because there really wasn't any much TV and film work, sadly, in Washington State until now. It's actually coming back, which is it's so we passed a huge incentive, a larger incentive package. So I am seeing it come back, but I'm my heart and soul is acting, and that's what feeds me. So I was never going to stop acting, and I was fortunate enough to be able to find there's great theater in Seattle and people who are willing to let me be in their shows and plays. And so I have continued to act in theater in Seattle, and it's been really rewarding. And I've gotten to do some really challenging, great roles that, I probably wouldn't have gotten to do otherwise.
Yeah. Now, being up there in Bellevue, and you said you were water skiing, did you go up there to Lake Washington to do the water skiing?
I live on Lake Sammamish.
Okay.
It's just east of Lake Washington, but really close to Microsoft.
Oh, so I know what area you're in, because I grew up in the state of Montana. So I mean, running over there to that side of the world that's what we did on the weekends.
Oh yeah.
And then we had to stop at Lake Coeur d'Alene for a little bit because I love those waters as well.
I know. Well, our series Going Home shoots in Spokane, as you know, and which is really close to Coeur d'Alene. So I'm hoping that if we get another season, I'll be able to take my boat over there and ski in Lake Coeur d'Alene.
A lot of creative people make their way to Spokane. I know that from Montana and North Dakota and stuff like that. And the reason why is because Spokane was that next step for a lot of entertainers, be it in radio, television, and things like that. Is it still that pulling place, that where people still go to it first before they make their way to Seattle or even LA?
I have been shocked. Paul McCartney opened his tour in Seattle. I mean in Spokane.
There's an energy about it. That's why they had the World's Fair back there. What was it, 72 or something like that?
Oh, was it? Well, that was the World's Fair in Seattle. But did they? I don't even. You may know more than I didn't think they did it in Spokane.
Yeah, it was probably I think what really got me was the fact that they were putting focus on the future. And as a kid, I was like going, "You got to be kidding me! I mean, who's talking about the future that far out there?"
Well, see, you know more than me. I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh boy.
So having never been to the West Coast until I moved to LA and finished school at UCLA, but never been to the Pacific Northwest until I was moved here to do Northern Exposure.
What kind of energy did you feel when you were at UCLA? And the reason why I bring that up is because my daughter graduated from UCLA, and I always felt amazing when I was on that campus. And I think it's the history, or just basically it's a great lay of land.
Oh, I adored it. I have to say I'm not a real Bruin. I graduated from University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, but I moved to LA because I secretly wanted to pursue acting. I didn't really tell my parents that. I went to summer school at UCLA, and at the end of the summer, I had started acting classes and called my parents and said, I can't come home. You'll kill my soul. I was a bit dramatic. And to their credit, I was the fourth kid, and they said, okay, you can do that, but you've got to finish college and you're going to have to get a job, which I did. And like everybody else in LA, I waited tables and finished my degree. University of Mississippi actually let me finish my last semester of classes through UCLA. So it's a little convoluted, but the campus was beautiful. I made great friends. I loved it. I have to say, my daughter just graduated from USC. So yeah, she's a screenwriter.
Oh, see, it's still running in the family then.
It is. I had a little bit of influence on them.
So then, do you find yourself working with her on something in a movie? And the reason why I bring that up is because, I mean, David Crosby says that his greatest lessons in life are what he's learning right now from his own son who's producing his music.
Oh, I would not like nothing more than to be able to work on a project with my daughter. In fact, she has a pretty awesome script that's getting passed around Hollywood right now, but and she's very kindly wrote a pretty cool part for her mom. But she's just graduating, and I have been in some of her student film projects, and she's one of the best directors I know.
So now, as an actress, do you find yourself heavily inspired by the current stage that we are in this binge watching age? Because it seems like that it's the playing field has opened up because there's so many things that actors can do nowadays.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. I mean, there's certainly pros and cons, but because there's just so much content, but I really feel like it's given voice to so many more people and new voices, and we're able to, I mean, everything is available to you, and as an actor, and that's super exciting. There's just so many roles and great scripts and projects and interesting things to do and to see and to watch.
And the funniest thing about it is that so many people are discovering shows from the past, and they're calling it their new watch. If you've never seen it, then it's brand new.
Right. And I see my kids watching shows from the 90s, which don't get me started. They keep talking about a Northern Exposure reboot, and why the old show isn't streaming is baffling to me, but it's not.
Someone's going to open that door. They have to, because it was such a major part of our lives. I mean, I remember talking about it on the radio because listeners wanted to know more. It was part of the conversation of the everyday world.
Oh, well, there's a huge fan base that still is, I mean, is very active, and they have reunions. We had it's been 30 years now, reunion, and people from all over the world. It was a really groundbreaking special show, and I hope that they will air the air it again on one of the streaming platforms.
And listeners need to understand that when Northern Exposure first appeared on television, the internet was there, but it wasn't what the internet is today. And so we had to use physical conversation in order to talk about our favorite shows.
Absolutely. Yeah. My kids just can't even fathom the fact that we didn't have cell phones. I'm like, no, I remember when I got the big brick cell phone that looked like a brick, and it was while we were shooting Northern Exposure. I think it was like in the second season. I actually had this phone, but it wasn't, and they're like, but how did you communicate? How did you? And I'm like, we actually talked to each other.
Or when someone actually showed me moving pictures on a smartphone, I'm going, what? I'm going to watch TV one day on that thing? Are you kidding me? Why?
Yeah. I still kind of, I have, but I like a big screen is always better.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm so happy that people are going back to the movie theaters again as well. Are you working on anything that's going to put you up on that big screen?
I am doing a small role in a little independent film that probably will be a while before you see it. I'm shooting in August, so more to come on that. But I hope so.
John Waters says that those independent films those are the things to do and the reason why is because it brings out that live performance as if you're like on a live stage, because you've only got so much time. You can't mess around with retake. And he says he loves that vibration. It's like, go, make it work.
It is. It's really fun. I enjoy it too. And it's just, there's a lot of camaraderie on indie films. Everybody's in it because they love doing it. You're not making a lot of money and you're working long hours. So it's, the atmosphere is when it's right, it's pretty cool.
It kind of reminds me of, when I was a child, my dad would say, well, John Wayne's been in 225 films. Dad, how is that possible? He says he never said no. He just kept appearing in movies.
Right. I know. I heard that's Michael Caine's philosophy too. I think it's a good one.
Absolutely. So where can people go to find out more about Going Home and find out more about you?
Well, Going Home is streaming on Pure Flix.
Yep.
And all you have to do is load the app on your TV if you don't already have it. The first week is free, and just look for Going Home on the Pure Flix app, and it's PureFlix. And as more about me, you can, I guess, I'm doing a lot of interviews these days in all kinds of places. Listen to radio, you can Google me, you can, and I am, if you're asking for all my social media stuff, I have to laugh because I'm really not big on social media, but my kids are kind of making me. So I have some, if you're asking me what all of my things are, I'm going to mess it up, but I'm sure, I do have Instagram and that. So if you put my name in, you can find me.
That's it. I always tell people that they'll go, so where can I find your shows? Just Google it. I could give you a million places to go and you won't remember.
Right.
Please come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Oh, thank you so much. I will. I appreciate it. It was fun talking to you, and yeah, I hope we get to do it again.
Well, hopefully I can get back up there to Spokane. We can go to Yakima and get some of those delicious peaches.
Sounds good.
You be brilliant, okay?
Thank you.